Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into an incredible story. It's one that starts with shared glory, but wow, does it branch off quickly into two really, really different paths. We're talking about the post-Olympic journeys of Leon and Michael Spinks, brothers, legends connected by blood, and, well, a golden era of boxing.
It's of a fascinating study, isn't it? A real contrast. The 1976 Montreal Olympics. I mean, it wasn't just any Olympics for U.S. boxing. People call it a golden era for a reason. You had Leon, the light heavyweight, Michael, the middleweight, both snagging gold medals.
Incredible.
Yeah, they became these huge figures, part of this amazing U.S. team. Brought home 7 medals in total, against tough competition like Cuba, the Soviets, even with that African boycott affecting things.
And to think these guys started out, well, pretty humbly, right? Honing their skills in those really gritty gyms, Pruitt-Igoe housing projects in St. Louis.
Exactly. Real tough beginning.
And their styles, so different. Leon had that almost wild, unpredictable flair.
Unorthodox.
Yeah. Well, Michael was all about that cool technical skill, almost surgical.
That's a good way to put it. So they shared that early training, that Olympic high point. But our mission today really is to unpack how dramatically their pro careers went in opposite directions. We'll look at the money, the achievements, the sort of tragic elements for both, honestly, and that complex relationship they had, how those paths just split despite starting together with gold.
Okay, so let's start with Leon. After that shared gold in Montreal, his pro career, well, you called it a roller coaster. He turned pro super fast January 77, racked up a pretty good 601 record quickly. But then what happened next was just mind-blowing, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of stunning how fast he reached the absolute peak, his defining moment. February 15, 1978, just over a year after turning pro. Get this, only 7 professional fights under his belt, and he pulls off one of the biggest upsets ever. Beats Muhammad Ali, undisputed heavyweight title, 15 rounds, split decision.
Wow, 7 fights?
7 fights. And he earned $325,000 for it. Which, today that's like, what, roughly $1.8 million?
An incredible amount for so early in a career.
Right.
But, like you said, a roller coaster. That reign was short, very short.
Incredibly short.
He lost the title right back to Ali 7 months later, unanimous decision in the rematch. So, title gone. But the money from that second fight.
Huge payday.
Huge. $3.7 million, which is like $18 million today. So, what did losing that title back so quickly really mean for him going forward?
Well, despite that massive paycheck, that rematch loss,
Yeah.
it really did mark the start of his professional decline. It seemed like something went out of him after that loss. Inconsistency just became, well, it became his thing. He had another big loss to Larry Holmes in '81.
Right.
And then just a string of defeats through the '80s, early '90s, often against guys he probably should have beaten or fights where he just didn't look ready. He finally hung up the gloves in 1995. Record was 26-17-3, 14 KOs, an 18-year career, but honestly, marred by inconsistency, some really questionable matchmaking, and maybe a lack of discipline.
So financially, you hear $5 million in career earnings, over $4 million just from those 2 Ali fights. Sounds set for life, right? But what was the actual story there?
Yeah, it's a tough lesson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those huge numbers don't always mean long-term security, especially in boxing. Despite the big money early on, his financial path was really rocky. You hear the stories, mismanagement, spending maybe a bit too freely, lavish spending, some investments that didn't pan out. It led to bankruptcy by the '90s. He even lost his house in St. Louis. And unlike some champs, he didn't really get those big, lasting endorsements. He ended up relying on, occasional appearances, smaller fights later on just to get by. So yeah, the reality is when he passed away, his net worth was, well, pretty much negligible.
And the health side of things, just as tragic, really. Diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2019, and then compounded by dementia, linked directly to boxing trauma.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And it really shines a light on the long-term costs of the sport. He passed away February 5, 2021. He was 67. In Henderson, Nevada, with family around him. But those later years, marked by money troubles and serious health issues. That dementia diagnosis, in particular, it points right to CTE. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy, the result of all those hits over the years, it's a huge concern now.
Definitely. But even through all that struggle, his personality, it kind of always shone through, didn't it? That flamboyant style, the famous gap-toothed grin, it was iconic.
It really was a symbol of his spirit, maybe.
He had the high-profile marriages, divorces, famously worked at a pizza place in St. Louis for a while. It's like resilience, but also a really sad fall for a former champ. So Leon's path was, incredibly dramatic, highs and lows. But then you look at his younger brother, Michael. Talk about contrast. His career was so disciplined, strategic. They called him the steady champion.
That's right.
How did his professional start look compared to Leon's? How did he carve out such a different path?
Well, Michael also turned pro in '77, just a
Okay.
bit after Leon in April. He moved up from middleweight gold to light heavyweight, and his whole approach was just different, calculated, patient. He built this incredible undefeated streak, 31-0, with 21 KOs all the way until 1988. He just dominated light heavyweights, held the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles from '83 to '85.
Unified champ.
Exactly.
Uh,
The key thing with Michael was consistency, strategy. He picked his fights carefully, built his legacy piece by piece, very deliberate.
and that led to his own historic moment. Maybe even bigger, strategically speaking. September 21st, 1985. He upsets Larry Holm
Huge upset.
and becomes the first reigning light heavyweight champ to win the heavyweight title ever. Earned $1.1 million for that one. What did that win mean?
Oh, it was monumental. It put him in the history books, no question. But more than that, it showed his incredible skill, his adaptability. He could move up, fight bigger guys, and win.
Yeah.
Dominate, even. It wasn't just beating Holmes. It was outthinking him, outmaneuvering an undefeated champ, a masterstroke.
Yeah.
His heavyweight run ended, of course, with that loss to Mike Tyson in '88. But after that, he made a really smart move. He retired,
Right? Just walked away.
walked away. 31-1 record, 21 KOs, only 31 years old, an 11-year career. And that decision, retiring relatively early, staying disciplined, probably saved him a lot long-term, health-wise, financially.
So if Leon's financial story is the cautionary tale, how did Michael manage things so differently? Same sport, same pressures, basically. His earnings were around $10 million total, boosted by those Holmes and Tyson fights.
Right, and that's where you really see the difference in approach, maybe in guidance too.
Mhm.
Michael had much better management, it seems, more prudent. He made smart investments. Real estate was a big one, apparently.
Yeah.
Diversified his income, thought long-term. And crucially, he didn't fall into the trap of overspending. Avoided that whole lavish lifestyle thing.
Different personality, too, perhaps.
Could be. Plus, he had good endorsements. Everlast, for example. That probably brought in another, say, $1 to $2 million. Steady income. So today, his estimated net worth is somewhere between $5 and $10 million. Lives comfortably down in Wilmington, Delaware. It's a testament to smart planning. A prudent legacy.
It's great he avoided the severe health stuff Leon went through, but, boxing still takes its toll, right? Even for someone as disciplined as Michael, there are still undertones.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Even the smartest, most disciplined fighters don't escape completely unscathed. Think about the emotional toll first. Watching your own brother decline like Leon did. That had to be incredibly hard. And then the physical side. Michael has experienced some minor cognitive issues. Nothing like Leon's dementia, thankfully, but it's there. A reminder that the risks are always present, even if you retire earlier.
Yeah.
He keeps a very low profile now. He's 68, lives quietly. But yeah, that shadow of boxing's long-term impact is still there.
And his public persona. Total opposite of Leon, wasn't it? Much more reserved. Married Cynthia Curtis in '92, raised a family pretty much out of the spotlight.
Very private.
His whole career felt strategic, including the exit, retiring early, deliberately. It's such a stark contrast to Leon hanging on, fighting maybe longer than he should have. It seems key to his stability now.
Absolutely. And looking at the relationship during those pro years, it's really insightful, especially when you think about athlete welfare in general. Early on, there was that camaraderie. Michael looked up to Leon's power. Leon was protected. They supported each other. Leon beating Ali, that actually boosted Michael's confidence, inspired him.
Right.
But then their paths just diverged so sharply. Leon's fame exploded. Michael took that steadier climb.
And you heard reports of tension, right? As Leon started losing, having money troubles, while Michael was winning titles, building wealth. That had to strain things.
It likely did, yeah.
Michael sometimes cornered Leon, but you could sense a growing distance. Leon's lifestyle, the partying, versus Michael's discipline. Michael even mentioned being concerned about Leon's management back in '85, kind of hinting at issues there.
Yeah, a subtle frustration perhaps. But despite all that, the different choices, the challenges, the brotherly bond seemed to endure. Since Leon passed, Michael's spoken really fondly of him, honoring his memory, their early days. It shows that deep connection was still there, even if it was tested.
Which leads us back to boxing itself. Leon's cancer, yes, but especially the dementia, linked to thousands of head blows per fight. Some estimates are just staggering, 2,000, 3,000 impacts.
That's brutal.
And studies now suggest, 20% to maybe even 50% of boxers end up with CTE, that neurological damage? What should the sport learn from these two brothers?
Their stories are just Such a powerful, tragic case study. Michael having even minor cognitive issues just underlines it. The risk is inherent. Earlier retirement, better defense, it helps, but doesn't eliminate it. It screams for better athlete support, doesn't it? Long-term health monitoring, care after they stop fighting. Thankfully, it feels like this conversation is getting louder. You see it on platforms like X. People are talking about it in 2025. The evidence is mounting.
And the money gap between them, just stark. Leon's $5 million career ends up with basically nothing. Michael's $10 million still has $10 million today. What does that say about the business side?
It says a lot. It's not just luck. Leon's situation points to poor management, maybe a lack of financial education, which sadly isn't unique. There was that report in 2024. Something like 60% of boxers face bankruptcy within 5 years of retirement. 60%.
Wow, that's shocking.
It is. Michael's success, on the other hand, shows the value of good advice, disciplined planning. It really fuels the calls for mandatory financial literacy training for fighters. Give them the tools to manage their money.
And just for context, even Michael's $10 million, I mean, compared to today's top guys like Canelo Alvarez pulling in over $200 million, it just shows how different the pay scale, the global market, the endorsements were back in the 70s and 80s.
Completely different world financially.
So wrapping up, it's just this incredible contrast, isn't it? Leon, meteoric rise, tragic fall, Michael, steady climb, stable retirement, same family, same sport, two wildly different outcomes.
It really is. A testament to talent, for sure,
Right.
resilience too. But also, critically, it highlights the need for better support systems in boxing. Their lives were shaped by choices. Yes, by management, but also by the risks baked into the sport itself. Glory, struggle, family, it's all in there.
Yeah, it really leaves you thinking, what responsibility does a sport truly have for its athletes after their careers end? And, how much of what happens post-fame is down to the individual versus the system they're in? Lots to chew on there. And look, if you're looking to get more great information, just like what we've deep dived into today, make sure you visit Mind Expansion Daily. You can find them online easily. And hey, while you're at it, please like and subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily wherever you get your content. It really helps them keep bringing you these incredible stories. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.